Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's the Jade Gemini. Tonight I am super excited to go to bring you a review of this guy right here. This is the Reylight Mini Pineapple AAA, or as I like to call it, the Mini Pineapple Max. So today we're going to go ahead and be talking about what I like, what I love, what I dislike, and if it applies, what is rubbish about this titanium flashlight. Before we go ahead and do that though, let's go ahead and get some size comparisons out of the way. First, I'm going to go ahead and show it as a common EDC item. This is the Benchmade Bug Out, one of the more popular knives that we've seen over the last couple of years for sure. So if you are into the EDC world, you either have this or have handled something like it. This is it also closed in comparison. Now, if you're not into EDC, we're going to go ahead and show it against more common items. So this is it for a sort of average, smallish, sized AA flashlight. This is the Olight i5R EOS. As well, we're going to go ahead and get it with the size of a standard AA. Or this is Olight's specialized AA made for the i5R. Here's an idea of it diameter. So as you can see, here about as round in diameter as the AA, and it sort of thins out in the middle with some of the sculpting, which we'll talk about. Here it is with the head. So not a big light around at all with the battery inside. It's as big as AA. And then a good size comparison actually in the Olight range almost perfectly is the i3T Plus. So it is basically identical from button to tip with this light, as well as diameter. So if you have an i3T or the i3T Plus, you get an idea of that diameter. So this is not a big light round-wise in the pocket at all. So with that all out of the way, let's go ahead and jump right into this review. So the first thing that I like about this light is the fact that it definitely ends up going ahead and giving a more premium feel. Being made out of titanium, being kind of launched in titanium, first of all, it is really nice. I feel like that is what kind of sets the light apart with all of the pineapple and mini pineapple series, is the fact that you get this custom looking sort of milled light that are usually like $300-400, but at a sub $100 range. This one, coming in right about like $70-80. And to that, it just looks, the finishing here is really, really well done with this sort of satin brushing across the entire light. So definitely do like that. The next thing that I do like a lot about this is the pocket clip. There's been a lot of lights that I've been reviewing lately which have had subpar pocket clips. For example, like the Workos TS10, amazing light, but the pocket clip you really have to fight and pinch and pull up to get into the pocket. And same thing as well when we're going ahead and talking about like my Sofrin HS05 headlight that has a similar style clip. With this is basically probably one of the best clips that are out there. Other than like what's kind of on these Olights, which work really well as well. But this is easy to get into the pocket. You push it. It is extremely deep carry in the pocket, which is also something to go ahead and like a lot as well. And it even has this ramp, so it's kind of like a choil and a knife that you can hold and sort of point like this, or hold like this, and it comfortably, is able to be held and not have to go ahead and worry about that at all. So that's another thing that I do like a lot. To be honest, right, I'm really kind of almost pent up because really there's just so much to love about this light, and that's what we're kind of talking about. Is this is perfection, right? I mean, as far as lights come, this is exactly what I've wanted, right? So the first thing I love about this light is just its overall design. I've loved the pineapple for a very, very long time, you know, its design. But with this going ahead and being long, this was literally a conversation that I had a year and a half ago with Ray on Instagram saying, hey, you know, and again, I'm going to, make sure to talk about, the bad and everything. I'm going to make sure to keep this, unbiased or whatever. Or as unbiased as possible. But all that being said, I literally said, hey, the perfect light would be is if you just took a pineapple and you basically put, 2 AA's in it, and you made it more powerful so it could run without dropping. That's exactly what this is, right? So this light one just looks gorgeous with this long, slender. I just love the confidence that this has, where it's kind of like holding out in the end, and you have that same thing, so you can grip on this. All of your hand grips into this nice grippy area, which just feels wonderful. You have this sort of confidence of this muzzle, going ahead sticking out. Same thing here when you click on this. Just all the grip is right there in that pineapple shape, and it's just it's like ready to go to work. So I love that to begin with. It's so attractive. I also love the changes that Ray has made. In the old pineapple, you had 4-sided here, as well as this tactile that tells you where the end of the light is. Here, he's actually changed it to have 6 notches here, as well as 6 cutouts here. And what it does is it just makes the light look bigger as you're rotating it. It seems like there's more circumference to your look, so it doesn't look so tiny. It just makes it look more interesting, although there's not an actual bigger diameter. So it feels more of like a solid tool than going ahead and being this small little dainty thing, right? And it just looks, like I said, amazing as well. In conjunction with the way that this holds in the hand, like I was saying, with that pocket clip, it's just confidence inspiring. The next thing that I love is just how insanely well this still carries. It's long, but that doesn't matter. It's all about the diameter, right? And if you have a head that yaws out at the end, or swells at the end, kind of like my Menker Striker, that you definitely notice in the pocket. It's gotten to the point where I want to carry other lights, but this is just so easy. It's got everything that you are looking for, right? When it comes to carrying, this just goes down to the bottom of your pocket. You don't even see it. It carries deep in the pocket as well. It's got a button that's not an E button. You have to long press down to get it to turn on, so it never accidentally turns on. Just magnificent. So that's another thing, is just how this carries. What I love probably the most out of this is just the absolutely stunning performance. One of the biggest problems that I had about the old pineapples are the fact that when you would run them, they would go to about 100 lumens if you're running the 10440 on the inside. And then that didn't feel like enough light. Like whenever I'm testing my light, I stand on my porch and I sort of spray the light to see if it hits the cars across the road, or if I'm standing right at the back of my house, can I see the edge of my backyard. And with that, I was even kind of straining and struggling to go ahead and use it. And I remember a specific situation where I went to a wedding, and I had the mini pineapple, and I was running the AA in it. And I popped it on the turbo, and after like 30 seconds, it would like die down, and I could barely see, even though I had a dedicated flashlight. And it was just, that was the 219 version, but still, it never felt like enough power. And anytime you use the turbo mode, it was more like an emergency. And I mentioned this in the old video as well, on both of my reviews of the 219 original and the updated 219 and 519A comparison. That basically it was more like an emergency mode, because after 30 seconds, it would hard drop down to like 80 lumens, and it just wasn't enough light. Long-winded, as that might be, this runs 400 and something lumens on turbo. So I haven't even needed to do that. The light on the medium mode is more than enough to completely flood my backyard, right? And then I just have an over, saturation even more on turbo. But I've run this for 4 minutes, looking at the dogs, everything, and it gets a little hot up here, but not uncomfortable, and the light has never pulled down. So you finally have a light that has enough performance to go ahead and meet this perfect package. Also, speaking to that, you have this amazing, gorgeous, just, it looks so, I don't even know, just, it is so gorgeous. It looks luxurious, fancy, suave. Like, what weird things to talk about tint on a light, but it's so true. There's not a hint of green here, not even yellow. There's this beautiful rosiness, this accurate color reproduction. You know, this would be a great light for somebody who's like an electrician that needs that perfect light. This is also like, even though this is 4000K, I have some 4000K lights that I wouldn't want to like turn the light on and it'd be like the ambient light right in the room, because it still would have like a little bit of twinge of blue, and there is no blue in this light whatsoever. This would be a light that would be a joy to just click on, sit on a table and like illuminate a room, because as flashlight people, we're weird like that, and we just want to use our lights just to use our lights, even though like there's a light switch right over freaking there, right? This is that sort of beautiful light that you just want to use it, right? And to that point, this gorgeous reflector with this aggressive orange peel that has been put in the head here allows the light to go ahead and not only have a diffused beam in the middle that isn't so rigid like a normal reflector, but you still get this really defined secondary ring that is insanely floody. But because it's a reflector, you still get some throw as well. And essentially, this is the perfect beam pattern, like, period, right? Like, yeah, if I was having like a headlamp and I wanted more flood, then that would be more specialized for this. But for everyday carry, this is so floody, so wide, but you still get a defined hotspot that does throw. So you're getting the benefit of like a TIR with this being a little broken up, but you don't get that useless broken up edge. It has a defined edge that it goes to, and it's really floody and really wide and really powerful with the 519A and really perfect. I mean, I love this light so much, and I've just been so jazzed to go ahead and make this review, because this is perfect, just about, to the most extreme that I've, seen with lights. It's everything that I'm like passionate about and wanting. It's got the value, it's got the build quality, it's got the premiumness with titanium that feels special, it's got that confidence in hand, it's got the upper performance that's actually useful. We'll also go ahead and talk about the other things that it has next. It has the ability to be dual fuel, which is a big thing for lights for me, is I don't want a light that I have to worry about if, a storm like Ian comes through again here in Tampa, and my batteries run out, then I'm SOL, right? Or if you're an electrician and your batteries run out, you're out of luck. So the first thing, you get this 10880 battery that comes in with the light, and it's USB rechargeable. We will talk about that on the negative, but for the most part, it's good. It allows you to have a battery that you continue to use, and it's this really kind of interesting form factor. So if you're also a light enthusiast, you like to just see a little different sometimes. It's kind of like knives with steel. Sometimes if a knife even is kind of on par with something you have, you kind of want to check out 15V just because it's the new thing Spider goes cooking up, right? Or something like that. But what's really cool about this is that you can also, perfect case in point, lights come out, something like that. You can go, and get the kids' toy out. See, in living color, this is where things go awry. But essentially, you want to be able to always be able to have a light in an emergency situation. So you could practice and play, take out some alkalines, AA's, right? Or lithiums, put it in the light, screw on the top. There we go. And now you have a working light again to get you through. Definitely not as bright, right? For sure. I mean, the last two clicks are actually the same here. There's not even like a seeable turbo, or if it is, it's such a small difference, I couldn't even tell. But still, that would get you through a tough situation. I also really have to give credit to the fact that there's a lot of information how this light works. So Ray on his website says you can use two AA's, you can use 110 440 with a dummy battery as well, if you have that. And it even says do not use two tin 440s. Don't know what would happen, but you know, that's just the battery that comes with it is good to go. Really, I think the dual fuel thing, though, if you run into a pinch or this battery runs out, you don't have electricity to charge everything up, you know, it's nice to see you have this as an option. The other thing that I love, of course, anytime there's tritium involved, that you could go ahead and install. So I got this gorgeous purple tritium that has been waiting for this, and finally put it in here and installed it myself, which was also easy, which takes me to the next thing. It was easy to get the switch out, tape it all up, put the epoxy on, do it myself without getting, you know, having to damage the light. But that does take me to the switch here. I do love the switch. One thing that I really haven't pointed out in my other videos is the fact that just how much of a problem having the finicky switch is on the Reylights, and that's sort of been a problem. I pointed out the underperformance, but I didn't point out the fact that these are pretty finicky. The switch I would turn on, and then you would click it again, and it would like go from like low to, or moonlight to low, and then go back to moonlight, right? Instead of going to medium and high, being reliable. Not only has this switch been the most reliable switch that I've had, and I am gonna Instagram with you know, Ray, and get an answer if he actually worked on this, or if it's literally just luck of the draw and I got a good one, and I'll put it in the description as a clear answer down below for you guys. But essentially, this has been the most reliable switch, and it also has this amazing harmonics, which again just adds to that perfection, like this ting, almost like what a sort of detint ball falling into a knife blade sounds like. That ting, you know what I mean? You close it up, just love that. The ting, I don't know, it's just so satisfying. But to that point, this has been the most reliable actuation. So at least for me, I mean, as you saw right there, it kind of went down, but you know, in the past, it's been a real problem where even out of the box, it's been really hard to actuate, and I haven't seen anything that is like worth complaining here. And then you also can get the aftermarket, you know, aftermarket tail cap that allows you to tail stand, and also allows you to rock easier down on that button if that is a point of contingency for you. So something also to kind of keep in mind and customize the light even more. Also the fact that there is time ascus buttons that you can buy on the cheap to make your light feel even more premium, right? Definitely something that is also a pro, as well as lots of different finishing options, which I love. You can get a smooth if you don't want texture. You can get just rings if you don't like the frag, or you can get the frag. There's also a new sort of glass blasted or bead blasted satin finish that's not satin but also not stonewashed, and then of course you have the iconic Stonewash or this gorgeous satin as well. So lots of options to match with your EDC and get what you really want. I also love the fact that this is really lightweight, way lighter than I thought. It feels just about the same essentially, or it might even feel like, yeah, I mean, if this had batteries in it, it feels just about the same, probably because this is all, you know, milled out here, which is like external weight relief. So it's not even a heavy light, but it feels really strong and still dense, even though it feels lightweight. So really good on it there. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots to love here. Now, like I said, this isn't a perfect light, although it is perfect, you know, for me. There are some different qualms to kind of keep in mind about it that I do want to talk about. The first thing, also love the double glow ring, but I've already talked about that with the 518 versions. But, you know, again, all those little things do add up. But on to what I don't like. So the first thing that I don't like about this light, I would probably say, is, again, you still do have this, you know, tail switch, which I'm going to say I probably got lucky. Like I said, if Ray actually confirms he worked on it and improved it, but I've actually, even though I haven't personally experienced it, talking to a lot of people, they say their biggest problem was the actual reliability, where the light like flickers on and off, or wavers, or shuts off, doesn't turn on, and like seems to have gotten progressively worse, right? I can't speak to that personally. All the Reylights that I've had have always turned on over the times that I've owned them, right? Especially my 219 I owned for a long time, and even though that button was, again, more finicky than this one here, In this one, I took apart, did the tritium, put it back together. It didn't get any better or worse. It stayed consistent, which is a plus, but just something to keep in mind. The other thing that is a negative is on Reylights. If you get the Stonewash finish, sometimes the Stonewash can be different from here to here to here, which can bug some people. And this is one of the reasons why I got this finish, although I do love it, and it actually matches perfectly my favorite pin, both with the frag pattern. Check out my video on my tie 2, what is this, the tie liner? Yeah, amazing pin. Lightweight, but feels super duper strong. All titanium, made in Hawaii. But matches that, which is a bonus, and again has that same sort of look, so I do like that, same sort of size, everything like that. But you know, that is a point of contingency. Also the fact that it doesn't automatically come with this clip, or the tail cap rather. It comes with this older style. I actually like that. Probably going to keep it just the way that it looks, right, in the sort of low profileness. But some people might want that automatically out of the box, to be honest. So that's another thing that I don't, like about the light itself. The other thing that I don't like that is a little bit bigger of a deal, especially these days, is I don't know if you caught it, but the battery here, there's actually two things about that. The first one is that it's a USB micro, like the old school Samsung S4, right? Old in the past, old school Android stuff. And, ever since like the S8, maybe the S7 even, we've had USB-C in everything. So even if you're an Apple user like me, because you're a light enthusiast, right? Or, I have these that have been, in my EDC now, that uses a USB-C on these beats, and just so many other things that I have use USB-C. So to have a USB micro is like finding a needle in a haystack, if you even have one. So that's something I would have liked to see be a USB-C, to be honest, instead of USB micro. The other thing that I dislike about the battery, well, more so the sort of clarification, is Ray did a lot of information explaining on what sort of, you can use a 110-440 and like a dummy cell, or you can use this cell, the 10-880. You can't use the 10-900. He gave all this information, but he said I had to take away the low voltage protection from the light so that it would go ahead and run with like certain AA's or something like that. But the battery that I have put in there should be protected. Should. I would like to know like 100% have confirmed you're good to go, not should. So that's something that I'm not, thrilled about for sure, especially if you love this light and you're dependent on it and, something ends up going awry, right? Something to kind of keep in mind. Not the biggest deal, when I do think about it, but, again, something I want to point out that kind of stuck with me. Other than that, though, there's nothing really to dislike about those lights. Those are just like little tiny qualms that I wanted to kind of go ahead and point out, and there's absolutely nothing rubbish about this light. So what does this mean? Well, overall, what this means is this is about as perfect as a package that I could have ever wished for. If I would have dreamed like, Ray's not going to make a light that has more lumens, right? It's going to be the same pineapple, and, I can run it on high, and it's going to be long, and it can, grab it, and blah, 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 and like all that things that I thought like would never happen actually happened, and it is perfect. It's finally able to get the high performance that I need while still having the dual fuel. It's attractive. It's easier to use. I love it more in the hand, right? I like these design changes. It is just the perfect light for me. And, a lot of people might be put off by this long length, but like I said, it's not too long. I just think this like slender area sort of tricks the mind and thinking it's like, almost looks like 3 AAAs when it's not really, but I just love the way that this looks. Honestly, if you do like this light and you've been kind of holding off on it, or kind of wary of the performance, I would say it overperforms even, more than, what it looks like, just because of the way they've got the emitter and the, you know, the reflector and everything fine-tuned together, and just the beautifulness of the, you know, light, the performance, you know, the way that it actuates the sounds, the feel. It's just perfect for me, and I absolutely am so happy that this was finally made. So, without me rambling on very much more, I'm going to go ahead and leave it at that. Of course, I appreciate you taking time to go ahead and watch this video, as there's so many other great content creators that you could be watching, and you've decided to click on my tiny little channel over here. Of course, go ahead and give this video a like and subscribe if you like content about this, whether it's EDC or flashlights, as there's so much more to come. Please comment down below anything you have questions about this product, or maybe, you know, just in general about flashlights or anything like that. You know, I can't thank you enough again for taking time to go to watch this video, and I hope everybody has an awesome rest of your week. You take care and stay safe. Peace.